At a gathering beneath ancient oaks they whispered, "She is a river, she will cut through stone for a while, then dry up." I smiled, sank deep into the earth. Centuries later, it was my rivers that fed kingdoms they never lived to see, my name woven into the lifeblood of continents, while theirs dried to dust and was carried away on winds that even the trees forgot. I was 23 when they took everything from me. That land wasn't just dirt and trees. It was the only thing my family had that nobody could touch. Or so I thought. My granddad, Walter, worked that land until the day he died. No machines, no big crews. Just his hands, some old tools, and pride. He raised me there. We weren't rich, but I never went to bed hungry. Never felt like I didn't belong. That land made sense to me in a way nothing else ever had. And then he died. Dropped dead in the fields one morning. Heart just gave out. I was still trying to process it when the Carruthers showed up. They didn't come with condolences. They came with a court order. Said my granddad had taken a loan years ago, back when times were hard. Said he used the land as collateral. I don't know if that was true. He never mentioned it. But the paperwork had his signature, and the judge didn't waste time. You have to understand what kind of people the Carruthers were. They weren't just wealthy. They owned people in the way money lets you. They owned the bank, the judge, even the damn sheriff. Their last name was on half the businesses in town, and the other half owed them money. Lucille Carruthers was the head of the family. She looked like your grandma, but she had eyes like a hawk and a voice that could freeze you in place. She wore pearls, read her Bible out loud, and ruined people with a smile. I was told I had 2 weeks to vacate, that the land was theirs now. When I tried to fight it, I got shut down fast. My lawyer, if you could even call him that, quit 2 days in. Said it wasn't worth it. Said I should move on. The worst part? They didn't even need the land. They didn't care about it. It was personal. My granddad had refused to sell it for years, and this was them getting the last word. 2 nights before I had to leave, they held some kind of gathering under the oaks. The ones that lined the edge of the property. All their people were their family, friends, business partners. Wine, music, catered food. Like it was a celebration. I stayed in the shadows and watched. Lucille raised her glass and said, "She's like a river. She'll cut through stone for a while, then dry up." Everyone laughed. It wasn't loud or cruel. It was worse than that. It was quiet, confident, final, like they were already writing me off. I didn't say a word. I just turned around and walked away. But I didn't dry up. I sank deep, and I waited. After I left the land, I lived in my car for 6 weeks. It was an old Crown Vic with a cracked windshield and a trunk full of my granddad's tools. I parked behind the library in Homer, a town 30 minutes east, and used their bathroom to wash up. I ate cold beans from a can and got by on gas station coffee. I had nothing. No money, no family left. But I had time. And I had memory. I remembered everything they said. Every smirk. Every lie. Every look that said I was beneath them. I worked odd jobs. Janitor at a feed store. Dishwasher at a roadside diner. Saved every dollar. Didn't talk to anyone unless I had to. Just worked. Watched. Waited. Then I heard about the land auction. The Carruthers didn't even keep the land. Less than 6 months after they took it, they put it up for sale. Developers were sniffing around. They wanted to build a golf course or some gated community for out-of-towners. That's when I met Joe Barrett. He was an old white man with a limp and a grudge. He used to run a logging company before the Carruthers crushed him with fake inspections and legal fees. I guess he saw something in me. Or maybe he just wanted to hurt them any way he could. Joe offered me a deal. He had money. Quiet money. Stored away in trusts and shell companies. Said he'd fund me if I wanted to buy land. Said he didn't care about profit, just revenge. I said yes. But I didn't want that land anymore. No, I wanted the land next to it. The swampy, forgotten part that backed up against the river. It was cheaper, written off as useless. But I knew better. My granddad used to take me hunting back there. Taught me about the underground springs that fed that land year-round. It was rich, wet, fertile. I bought it in a fake name. Then I started building. Not houses. Not malls. Farms. Hydroponics. Aquaponics. Low-cost, high-yield systems I learned from books and online forums. Tomatoes, peppers, herbs. Clean water pumped straight from the springs. I sold direct to restaurants, co-ops, farmers markets. Quiet at first. Just a trickle. But the trickle grew.
Irat locals.
Folks the Carruthers had pushed out or ignored. Paid fair wages. Offered training. Expanded 1 acre at a time. The name on the deed was fake, but people started calling it River's Edge Farms because of the water. 4 years in, I was supplying produce to half the parish. A distributor out of Baton Rouge offered me a statewide deal. I said no. I wasn't done yet. Then came the drought. A bad one. Hit the region hard. Crops failed. Wells ran dry. Even the Carruthers' cattle started dying off. Their golf course project got shelved. Investors pulled out. But my farm thrived. Because I had water. Because I planned for it. Because I remembered. Lucille came to see me one day. I was in the fields wearing overalls and dirt like a second skin. She stepped out of a black Escalade, sunglasses on, lips tight. She didn't recognize me at first. I waited. When she did, her face cracked just for a second. "You're the girl," she said. "No," I said, turning back to my rows. "I'm the river." Lucille didn't say anything right away. Just stood there, her polished shoes sinking a little in my wet soil. "I want to make a proposal," she finally said. I didn't answer. Just kept pruning the basil. She hated the silence. People like her were used to controlling every room they stepped into. "We're willing to offer a partnership," she said. "You've built something impressive, but we both know it can't last without protection. We have resources. You have product. We can help each other." I looked at her, then at the truck she came in. "I remember when your lawyer told me I didn't belong on my own land," I said. "That I should be grateful to walk away without jail time." Lucille's face didn't flinch, but her voice turned icy. "That was business. This is different. Times change." "No," I said, standing up. "People like you don't change. You just circle back when the well dries." She turned and walked away without another word. That's when the pressure started. A week later, my distributor pulled out. Said he was restructuring. The same day, the county health inspector showed up. Found violations that didn't exist before. A week after that, my bank account got flagged for a suspicious transaction. I couldn't pay my workers for 2 days. Then someone set fire to my south greenhouse. They thought they could starve me out, push me like they did everyone else. But I wasn't just fighting for revenge anymore. I was fighting for the people I hired, the land I saved, the name I'd built from nothing. So I went public. I had records, copies of every permit, every inspection, every payment. Photos of the arson. Names of the inspectors who'd failed me after years of passing grades. Emails that linked one of Lucille's nephews to the local distributor who'd dropped me. I sent it all to a journalist I met at the co-op. She ran a blog about food systems and land justice. Within 2 days, the story hit local news. Then state news. Then national. They called it the farm that fought back. People started asking questions. Why did the Carruthers control so many public offices? Why were small farms being fined while bigger ones polluted with no penalty? Why had so many families lost land under suspicious loans? They opened an investigation. The first to fall was the health inspector. Then the county judge. Then a banker. Lucille stayed quiet, but her empire started to crack. And then came the twist I never saw coming. Joe Barrett, my silent backer, died. Heart attack. Just like my granddad. But in his will, he left everything he had to me. Not the shell company. Not the LLC. Me. And with that money came something else. A deed. To my granddad's land. The deed came in a thick envelope with a note written in Joe's shaky hand. It was always yours. I just held it until you were ready to take it back. I sat at my tiny kitchen table holding that paper, shaking. The last time I stood on that land, I was broken. Homeless. Humiliated. And now, after everything, it was mine again. But this time I didn't go quietly. I called a press conference right on the land itself. Invited every news outlet that had covered the Carruthers investigation. Reporters, cameras, drones. My workers came too. People from town. The ones they'd pushed aside over the years. Black, white, old, young, it didn't matter. They came. I stood beneath the same oaks where Lucille toasted my downfall, the same ones that had watched her family steal and lie for generations. I held up the deed. This land belonged to Walter James, I said. My grandfather. It was stolen through fraud, threats, and a system built to protect people like the Carruthers. But that system is cracking, and the truth is flooding in. Then I told them everything. The loans, the fake liens, the intimidation, the arson, the attempted bribes. I said names. I showed receipts. Lucille wasn't there, but her name echoed through every speaker. Within weeks, more investigations opened. One by the state attorney general, one federal. Turns out Joe had been gathering evidence for years. He hated them as much as I did. He kept files, recordings, even a video of Lucille's nephew laughing about torching that girl's glass shack. They didn't just lose the land. They lost everything. The Carruthers' estate got frozen. Lucille's sons got indicted. Her church connections dried up overnight. Investors dropped them. Foundations revoked their support. She tried to hide, but reporters camped outside her gates. Protesters marched every Sunday. And then Lucille Carruthers died. They said it was natural causes, but I think it was pride. A year later, I reopened my granddad's house, not as a home but as a community school. Kids come there now to learn about farming, water systems, and land ownership. How to protect what's yours. How to build what they said you couldn't. People still whisper about that family, but now they also whisper about me. They say I came out of nowhere. That I rose from the mud. That I became something more. But I didn't rise. I flowed. I cut. I carved a path so deep, they couldn't cover it. They were right that I was a river. They just didn't live long enough to see where I led.